Okay, so Makeshift Workshop Garage Productions presents GM-5 amplifier on top of JVC iArt TV set. So, okay, got a few messages and comments and stuff and derp and junk and shit from people wondering how the hell to hook one of these up. And for demonstration, we're going to use my mint condition Pioneer GM-5 component amplifier. Very high end. I made a video that I had two of these. Anyway, long story short, there's some real guts in here. I've had this apart a few times. And anyway, so what's inside of here? You got two 20 watt, well, it's a 20 by 2 peak, 16 by 2 RMS amplifier, and it's got three types of inputs. The most common, if you have a Pioneer component radio, you have this, if I can get this out of here without destroying, you have this 8-pin DIN plug in here. This would go directly to the back of the deck, and the amplifier would actually power the deck, and the deck would send power to a lead that was in here that would switch this on. That's where this would get its power from. Now, the thing about that is this also carried your line level signal, but it's very, very low level. They do make adapters for these on eBay that are custom made to go down to RCA for the ones that don't have this, but got to remember, it's like a 70 millivolt signal. It's a very low level. You're going to need some kind of, attenuator circuit or something for it if you're going to try using this for line level input on another amplifier. So when they came out with this model, which is kind of rare, they turn up very rarely on eBay, you'll find that, you have the component and you have booster inputs. Okay, this is the triple lead that has a shared common. All right, they may or may not have the connectors on them, but they're the old bullet style plugs. You have a green, which is your right, a gray, which is your left, and a black, which is your common ground input if you're using the booster level, which brings me to, you also have regular RCA inputs and a selector switch for a booster component, or far to the left, which is your regular RCAs. That's all normal. And then in the other loom here, okay, you have your separate floating ground normal speaker level output, so I can get this bastard camera to focus. Focus blocks. Well, it's trying to anyway. You see you have a green and a green black and a gray and a focus please and a gray black. Which it's still not going to focus. Come on. Asshole. There we go. And then you have your thicker red wire and your separate black wire there. See, they're all in that loom. Okay. So speaker level outputs and your main power and ground, which should be long and have a fuse on it. If it's cut, then it takes a 4 amp fuse if you need to know. So there's that loom. See, there's the component loom. And then over here, okay, next to the booster input level loom, you have this other red wire. This is not, okay, this is not a remote turn-on lead. There's a transistor inside of there and some other bits and relays and shit that when you draw power from this, whereas a radio like this doubled-in radio or any other modern car stereo puts power out of the remote turn-on lead, this one requires a current draw on it. And I guess whatever components they've used in the circuitry in that, once there's a draw on this of up to 2 amps maximum, okay, this amplifier will turn on whenever there's power here and turn off whenever there's no current being drawn from here, okay? There is a circuit you can use with a transistor that, as long as, I think it needs to be at least 100 milliamps, maybe 200, not sure, so probably anything a quarter amp or so would be enough to trigger this. You can take a transistor, and I forget which type of transistor, but you would take this on the main voltage in and you'd have the other obviously ground pinned on it to ground, and then there would be a third pin on the transistor, and that's where your remote turn on for your car stereo would go. That'd be the way to convert this back over. Now, you can butcher this, okay, and I don't know if it will work in booster mode or not, or in the RCA input level mode or not. There are some pins in here. If you can find the constant power in and the switched power lead that gets connected to constant power, you can put a relay on that can be triggered by your remote power lead on the radio. And I've seen people do that, but I've only seen people do it on the regular component amplifiers like a GM-4 or a GM-40 or something like that. But never on a 5, because I think the GM-5, like I said, because of the other circuitry that's in here, probably disables this altogether. So I don't know if you could try it or not. I also have a second one of these up here that's less than mint, along with my other, slew of audio and other random gear that happens to be in my workshop in a minute. So if anybody's got any other questions on this, let me know. I had some information on this at one point. It was actually only in an eBay auction, and the pictures disappeared when the auction got old, because eBay does that. They dump those. So I really don't have any more info other than this. I know this was a little ramblesome. The camera's all over the damn place, out of focus, blah, 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 typical bullshit that everybody hates. But some information presented less than perfectly is better than no information. And yes, you can service these. You can get to everything on here. What is it? There are bolts to take off the top cover, and it comes apart in like a sandwich type thing. The top cover, this black plate here, comes off. This heatsink is like an H-type assembly type of deal. It's got a bar in here and then the two heatsink deals. And the amplifier chips are actually attached to the frame inside of here, as is the board. So you can get to both sides of the board. And then the bottom metal plate that's on this comes off. If you need the spec info on this, I can try to get it, but let me see what I can do here with Mr. Zoom button. If he'll even focus, which he probably won't. Well, it was focusing. That's just mean. Well, we'll keep trying at it. Anyway, there you go. If you can read that, I'll get a better picture of it and post it on Photobucket or something. Maybe stick a link in the description, just because this camera won't play freaking ball with me. Which, this is that EasyShare Z885, which, believe me, takes a lot better photos than it does video. Anyway, enough rambling. Here's how this works. If anybody's got any other questions, PM me, because I can't reply on comments because YouTube's being an asshole, as is typical, because Google's being a douche. So, with that, I bid you all adieu. Sorry for having to put you through 8 minutes of hell, but I think it's worth it, considering you'll know how to hook these damn things up if you come across them. Sometimes they're cheap. I see them on eBay anywhere between $50 to $200, depending on, how rare somebody knows this is, or, if somebody knows what this is. I think I paid about $37 for this one in basically mint condition. I even had the mounting bar for this, and then I paid like probably about the same, about $30 for this one. Well, it's plenty rusty. I took it apart, and it works just fine. But you got to remember to put more than a little teeny tiny bit of draw on that other connector. And no, on most decks, the ignition lead, the red lead on the deck, isn't enough to turn those on, because I tried that with this deck and it wasn't enough. So it needs to be a bit more. Anyway, so that's that. And yeah, have fun, guys. Just figured I'd shoot this on a Saturday because I had nothing better to do. And yeah, so hit me up, comment, subscribe, whatever, the whole nine yards. You know the whole deal. Anyway, see you.